Welcome to the Patriot Hour. This is Michael, your host for 5/22/18. It's Tuesday afternoon. We got some new Anon Q clearance, breadcrumbs, updates, drops. We got Scott in the studio, so we're going to do a Patriot Hour Anon intermingled thing. So stick with us. We'll be right back.
You know what letter that is, Grover?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a Q.
All right, welcome back to the Patriot Hour. I'm Michael again. Scott.
Good afternoon.
In the studio. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, maybe ring the bell. Afterwards, I don't know, comment.
We love the comments.
Email, something. Like, thumbs up. So, interesting. Lots of stuff happened over the weekend. We're going to jump into these Q real quick for those of you who want to get the Q, and then maybe you bug out or whatever, and we'll finish up on what we got lots to talk about. So, go ahead, Scott. This is 1434 in the series at what, 11:52.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, about an hour ago, if that, half hour, 40 minutes. So, go ahead, read that. Reread.
Reread slowly and carefully. And then there's the Breitbart.com link there. Did you see the Ryan interview a short time ago, Paul Ryan? When you are no longer seeking another term, you are free to make better decisions. Rapid fire, flood is coming, future proofs past, CNN, Q.
Wow. CNN in the kill box. I wonder where this leads. Let's see. So, like you said, a Breitbart news article. This is from 31 of March.
Turley says Sessions appointing Utah federal prosecutor much better for Trump than second special counsel.
We won't read all this, but the Washington professor Jonathan Turley, a top national legal expert on government investigations, commented on Thursday about Attorney General Jeff Sessions' decision to bring in U.S. Attorney John Huber. Turley called it brilliant to combine all the powers of U.S. Department of Justice's inspectors general with a prosecutor who can bring charges, seek indictments, and get results for President Trump far more quickly than a second special counsel.
Well, good.
Seems like a wise decision. So did you see Paul Ryan interview a short time ago? When you are no longer seeking another term, you are free to make better decisions. I didn't see that.
I didn't see it either, so that means we're going to have to find it eventually and watch it.
Yes, we will. So, all right, there's your Q post read. For those of you that were looking forward to that, there was a new one at least. So what else? Now we have heard rumors or hearing, not so much rumors, that there was a mole placed into the
Trump campaign.
Yeah. So like an FBI.
Kind of crazy. It all starts making sense, though.
Well, it's like his, like we were talking about earlier, garage talk or whatnot on, Trump's tweet. It was far out there a year ago. I can't believe you just found out last night the Obama administration spied on the Trump or on me in Trump Tower. This is McCarthyism.
Yeah.
And everyone thought, wow, what a nut job. And they really, created a circus around that tweet. And then slowly but surely kind of led to this, led to that. They were backpedaling. Well, we were still right about saying, he was far out there because it didn't really involve him. It was the people around him. What are they going to do on this one? Well, if they did something like that, they must have had really good reason to, Scott. Well, no, they didn't, because we found out they found nothing.
Right. Right. Actually, they're finding out the truth's starting to come out now. The hypocrisy is just, it's crazy when you listen to some of these interviews and
some people defend that in this whole process. They got a couple of felony charges out of it. Like, this guy lied and this other guy lied, but that their main thing was to get Trump, Russia collusion, and you had people maybe wrong on dates of when they ate dinners and met with somebody, and that's what they're getting hemmed up on.
Yeah,
then
they get perjury.
It's like that never would have happened had they not have had this whole investigation.
Correct.
That's like a secondary. You didn't start the whole thing to get this guy over here lying about some time frame.
Right. Right. That's exactly why Trump never sat down with him. I'm sure he was going to be truthful, but if he got caught saying, like we've said before, well, this guy was blue on that particular day at 11 o'clock, and later if he changed his mind and changed the shade of blue, well, then he'd perjure himself, right? So
look at some of these articles. I'll put this up here for the folks. Just kind of skimming through. FBI found guilty of planning mole in Trump campaign. FBI hit a mole in the Trump campaign 11 days ago, even. So a lot of these are FBI mole. This guy, they said, did something in the 80s.
Yes.
Like of the same caliber. So Stephen
Calbert, honey.
What was it, Colbert?
Colbert? Is it Colbert?
No, that's the other. That's that one guy.
Scroll back down there.
Halper.
Yeah. He's been around a while, huh?
Was it the Reagan or Clinton era?
I don't know the guy. FBI source who assisted in the Russia investigation and is the center of
right
standoff.
Here. His role in the CIA efforts. So Stephen Halper's role in the CIA efforts to influence the 1980 presidential election revealed. So now that his name is spread beyond conservative blogsphere, Stephen Halper's past activities are up for an examination. And it turns out that 2016 was not the first time he had worked on behalf of an intelligence agencies to influence a presidential election. Don't take my word for it, just examine the record published in 1983 article by the New York Times. So this guy was charged with, it was helping George H.W. Bush. And he used to be the head of the CIA, Bush. So Halper was involved for a long-forgotten spy scandal involving the 1980 election in which in the Reagan campaign, using CIA officials managed by Harpler, reportedly under the direction of former CIA director and then vice presidential candidate George H.W. Bush, got caught running a spying operation from inside the Carter administration. The plot involved CIA operatives passing classified information about Carter's foreign policy to Reagan campaign officials in order to ensure the Reagan campaign knew of any foreign policy decision that Carter was considering.
Holy smokes.
So
the same players, just decades later.
Different, same game, different name.
How do they imagine? I mean, maybe back then it was easier to get away with, but with today's technology and everything just being bam right there on a microphone or on a screen, how did they really think that they were going to get away with all this?
If she won.
Yeah, well,
that's what it was. Yes, exactly.
And that's why she said, the one time, and we've talked about it before, where behind stage, she just went crazy, and we're all gonna hang if he wins. So, hey, man, the jig is up.
This Glenn Greenwald did a really good piece. He's the one that dug all this up on May 19th, 2018. So just a few days ago, Glenn Greenwald, he's the one that Edward Snowden got a hold of when he did what he did. Now we know the truth on Snowden. I mean, Glenn was just a reporter, got a hold of. He would have had no idea that, the reason you were at the NSA is because the CIA put you there. Like, that was withheld. But he did a good job on getting the information out. But he broke it down on this guy. And he's not a huge, Trump supporter at all. He's just a guy that's kind of a constitutionalist, and he likes to see people uphold it. So he's even... Did you see Glenn Beck finally jumped on Trump train?
Did he really?
Yeah.
Good.
He put a hat on the other day on the show.
Man. Well, it's amazing what happens when the truth starts really coming out.
Well, he was hugely against him for the run-up. I think he was Bernie, or was he not Bernie? I can't remember. I think he was Ted Cruz for a while. So he was of conservative.
He liked Rand Paul.
Yeah, he was with Ted for a minute, but I think
he distanced himself from Trump, because it could have backfired on him. But now that all this truth is coming out, it's easy to jump on board and say, now that you're seeing things,
and some other people were saying his businesses were hurting, like his stuff that he sells, Glenn Beck, websites, and they were hurting bad. So, and he thought, man, I'm going to do it.
Get on the cash
I'm
cow.
not saying, but no, I mean, he's saying why he did it, and the reasons he's saying isn't because of his businesses. He's saying because he's seeing results.
Yeah. Yep.
So you take him for that. Take him for his word, I guess. I don't know. But
This is what I always go back to about anybody that's against Trump. Just look at the results. Judge him and base your opinion on his results, not what Hollywood and mainstream media wants you to believe.
well, that's huge because people are like, well, what about his, messing with, porn star back in, hey, I've read things. I haven't dug too deep, but I know he don't drink. I know the guy don't smoke. He doesn't have those vices. He's pretty coherent anytime he's sitting down, business meetings, dinners, other people, certain time of evening, they'll start drinking. I do, you
Right.
do. And that does, make you a little loose or quicker to make a decision, but he's always logical. If his one vice years ago might have been money, women, I don't, but who knows at what point maybe he, got forgiveness or it did that with his maker, and that could have been a year or two ago before, who knows? We're
Right.
talking about things from 12, 15 years ago.
And that's what I say.
I didn't vote on him for that.
Yeah. People can change.
Would I go to him for a life mentor if I'm going through a divorce or have issues in a relationship to be it's like, you've been divorced a few times. I don't know if you denied these allegations, but maybe I wouldn't use him for a life coach to mentor me through a divorce.
Right.
I'd think, but to run the country.
Know what you're good at and do that. Right?
Yeah.
So,
That's what people are down to. So let's watch him and base him on that, on what he's doing now as president, not, we had other presidents do things in the Oval Office on taxpayer dollars while you're getting something done, and nobody cared then.
Yeah, why do we keep bringing that up?
He didn't get impeached for that. Nobody cared.
I absolutely love the argument that, well, Trump's doing this, Trump's doing that. Well, I didn't hear you complain when Clinton and Obama were doing things. Why do we keep talking about the past? Oh, well, real convenient that it's okay for you to look the other way when it's somebody that you support. But here's a guy that's fulfilling many of his campaign promises, and now all of a sudden, well, he's done this or he supposedly has done that. Let's crucify him. It's like it's just the hypocrisy. It's all blowing up in their faces, and it's just like the other day when they made a comment about when he said supposedly Trump called all immigrants animals, and that's not what he said at all. And then CNN comes back later and says, well, he was talking about MS-13, but 24 hours
But
went by.
they already let it
before
bleed. How many people
yeah.
were there waiting for them to update the story? Probably a fraction. Did they do it at 2 a.m.?
Right. I've already heard it. Man, I can't believe Trump said that the other night. Trump said what? Well, all immigrants are animals. That's not what he said. Well, that's what the news said.
Yeah, start telling people, careful who you follow.
Holy smokes, yeah.
I just put in newest news from anything that we can look at here, just breaking. Look at that. A sinkhole opened up on the White House lawn, and it's growing.
Wow. I was looking for one of his last tweets. But go ahead.
I can bring up his tweets as well. How about, it's getting funny with Loretta Lynch as well. All these people now that the investigations are turning, or they reviewed it, they're getting a little nervous. I've noticed, they're not running around all these TV shows like they were, trying to get their story out and letting everyone else know what the story is going to be, because that's how they do it when they're under scrutiny, maybe being watched. That they're going to go on this show here, say it again, so everyone else that's involved can listen and,
Right.
oh, okay, that's what she's saying. Okay. That's a pretty sly way, I would imagine.
More of the Russia probe.
Where was that one? Right here.
Yeah.
Congressional leaders to review information on the Russia probe. So that's did Trump make them do that then, or
Well, I think
are they going to be releasing some of the documentation? That's what they were calling for.
Well, I'm pretty sure I seen where he asked the DOJ to launch an investigation. Now he's pushing it. Which one did I see that? And they should. I mean, it's time, and I think most of us have been waiting patiently. So now would be a good time to.
Here, let's read these three. Go ahead.
John Brennan is panicking. He has disgraced himself. He has disgraced the country. He has disgraced the entire intelligence community. He is the one man who is largely responsible for the destruction of Americans' faith in the intelligence community and in some people
At the
at the top of the FBI. Brennan started this entire debacle about President Trump. We now know that Brennan had detailed knowledge of the phony dossier. He knows about the dossier. He denies knowledge of the dossier. He briefs the Gang of Eight on the Hill about the dossier,
which they
then use to start an investigation about Trump. It is that simple. This guy is the genesis of this whole debacle. This was a political hit job. This was not This was not an intelligence investigation. Brennan has disgraced himself. He's worried about staying out of jail. Dan Bongino.
Wow.
So it's backfiring. And I just did what you brought something up out in the garage where he was caught saying, "Oh, this, the reason for the FISA warrants was the dossier." And then later, just recently, in front of Congress, and Gowdy was asking him, "Oh, no, we didn't rely on the dossier at all. Now that the gig is up, we didn't use the dossier." But that's what your whole premise was for the last umpteen months. So
when we just got what Nunes released,
yeah.
And it showed like the only thing they really had to start it and get a yes from this FISA judge was the dossier.
That's correct.
And then you had the left, or the other part of the intelligence committee, Adam Schiffy, saying, we don't know if that's the only thing they use, because this just shows that that's one of the things, but we don't have all of the documentation that might show other angles they use.
But the judges that signed the warrants did. That's all that they were presenting. Yeah. So you can't add to it later and subtract what you use, because now that you know that the entire country and the entire planet now knows that it was crap.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's distancing himself, and he made a huge mistake.
That guy was that thing we saw, Gowdy to Brennan, was like May of 17.
Yeah.
So we're talking a year ago.
He lied right there in front of the
dossier. What you use? No.
Yeah.
Well, why not? Because we blah blah blah. It just wasn't part of the overall whatever word he used. It just wasn't something they needed. They had other stuff.
They look like ants with a magnifying glass through the sun right now. They're just scattered, and they're constantly saying the wrong things. They're getting caught in lies, and it's just a matter of time before one of them has to squeal in order to save themselves from jail time.
Oh yeah, that's
lying under oath into these committees. I think they got enough to go forward with it now. At least a very aggressive investigation. They better. We demand it. I mean, that's what we've been asking for.
This is interesting as well. Last night, military op, green light, general knowledge of JFK, all right? You have to have some general, we all pretty much do. Full disclosure, general statement. Once the extremely guarded and highly classified information is finally revealed to the House investigators, DNI, and then the public, Rod Rosenstein must recuse or be forcefully terminated.
Wow.
That's going to come out here, I would imagine. We're going to keep an eye on that, of course. Everyone's been talking about Rod Rosenstein problems. What was Rod Rosenstein's Senate confirmation vote?
Ooh.
And I found that out to be, was it like 96-4 or something?
Really?
Yeah. Does that mean that was what his vote was, like, for him to get in? It was like a 96 to...
Yeah, if you're saying 96-4, then that means...
Let's just make sure I was right. I looked this up, or I found it somewhere. So, Rod Rosenstein. 94-6. The Senate voted 94-6 Tuesday to confirm Rod Rosenstein as Deputy Attorney General.
Jeez.
Where were we at, Q?
So then...
Ray reports to Rod Rosenstein.
Important fact.
Who do you trust? Rod Rosenstein recused/fired. Who has direct oversight of Mueller then?
Oh, boy.
Sessions. Unrecuse himself, because he had recused himself already.
Correct.
Or number 3 until refill. Who is Rachel Brand? Why was Rachel Brand dismissed? Think timing. So here's the succession question is actually a bit complicated. By default, under obscure statute known as the Vacancies Reform Act of 1998, Brand's temporary successor at the acting associate attorney general is her principal deputy, Jesse Poncio. The same statute would also allow the president to choose someone else to serve as acting AAG on a temporary basis for up to 210 days. The pool of individuals from which the president could draw in this case includes individuals already holding Senate-confirmed positions elsewhere in the executive branch, like EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt,
Oh, wow.
or senior civil service lawyers in Justice Department. So when does the clock run out? Why is Schneiderman's removal extremely relevant? Trust, name, these people are stupid, D5.
Huh.
D5, I still don't know what that means. Is a chess move or ABCD. D is also 4.
45.
4 or 5.
45. Yeah.
That's what I've come to the conclusion of. But so that's interesting. Very interesting. This was an interesting one the other day. Finally be strong in the Lord and his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore put on the full armor of God, so when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground. Pretty crazy.
Ephesians. Love is patient, love is kind, does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, is not rude, is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in the evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always preserves. Love never fails. 1 Corinthians 13:4-13. Huh. I sure wish I knew what inspired him to quote those verses.
Well, maybe because we're going to be coming up against a lot of evil.
Yeah.
And if you have the armor of God on, you're going to be able to see it, I think.
I'm so excited to see the next couple of weeks how they start spinning this. They're going to have excuses. They're going to have a reason. He's already lied about the dossier. We didn't use it. Well, a year and a half ago, you said you did use it. That was the premises for the warrant. So.
And then like that one we watched today, how funny that one guy was all defending like, well, you can't start investigate. How fruitless of Trump to point to somebody and be like, do this. Well, I mean, what backing do you have? You have to have a smidge of some evidence to do things like that. And
yeah,
he's talking about looking at the investigation that just ended with nothing.
Right.
And how was it started? And this guy is talking about you shouldn't do things. And it's like, well, didn't that just happen?
There's an overwhelming enough amount of information and reasoning. I mean, they know that who was behind the dossier. They know why they used it. So there is enough proof for them to go ahead and more proof to go after this investigation with the DNC and Clinton and all of them, Comey, I mean, all the way down, than they ever had on Trump. So it's entertaining to watch them now just freak out. You can't do this. Trump shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Well, like we said, and everyone knows this, there were clear crimes in front of Comey, the FBI, the DOJ, that involved servers, beating up phones and government stuff with hammers, bleach bit, delaying. I mean, she really could have just, like we talked about, the FBI comes over. Oh, hey, we need that server. You kind of got a bunch of government stuff.
Yeah, give me 4 or 5 days, you can have it.
And when asked, she always, what is this personal stuff that you seem to be wanting to guard really close? Oh, just my daughter's wedding stuff. And it's like, well, if that's all it truly is, then why not? It's like, turn it all over.
Yeah.
Because that's the way it normally is anyway. Like if I wanted to go back to a base that I served on, I was like, you guys probably got digital records. I had a bunch of personal stuff mixed in and well, give us some, they might slow play and take 6 to 8 months and then give me what they deem. Hillary's had control of this every step of the way. The government had to come knock on her door. Can we get our emails back that are supposed to be part of ours? It's kind of actual criminal to take them off. Well,
yeah.
Who sent you guys? Well, we're with the FBI. Oh, well, does John still work over there?
Yep.
I mean, and then ends up going back into her house, not giving it over. Like, not she had it there, but the one in the basement maybe. But they never turned it over. They didn't kick in doors. They didn't come back with warrants because they didn't get it. They left her alone, and they waited 8 months. Then she turns over. Well, that's everything. That's what I deem to be government. Are you sure, Miss Hill? Yes, I'm telling you.
Good enough. Good enough. Yeah.
At every step of this, it was her. Questions go in your head. You have to literally stop. Like, who would only know that question I have? Well, that's Hillary. And now the media had to turn and ask her again and get another. Why did you even do any of this? Well, for ease of use. But one device comes out, 13 devices. That was a lie. So what's your next little...
The general public seen enough things happen to where, there was a guy not too long ago that said, well, they investigated Hillary. No, they didn't. Well, she was in front of Congress. No, she was in front of a committee.
Yeah.
Well, she had to turn everything over to the FBI. Well, she was supposed to, but she didn't. But you've seen enough pieces where
she didn't.
You thought, as a normal citizen, you caught enough pieces. You assumed
you
that's
saw
what
her on
was going
TV.
on.
You saw this,
and then they just backed away.
Yeah.
And how did it get worded? Was Q the one that said it or something? Where she was wrongfully let go or wrongfully not investigated?
Yeah. Criminally not charged, or the investigation was criminal enough that she didn't get a fair try or a fair look at, because that's what's funny. Think about that, like, Scott, like if you truly didn't have emails that were bad, things that were showing pay to play, you just turn it all over. How much better could you just turn it all over?
Yeah.
Let them end up giving back to you what they deem. But you wanted to hold and act like, well, what is it so much? You're willing to take classified stuff off of a server, all in the name of these emails that you're acting like weren't even nothing more than your daughter's wedding plans.
Why'd you scrub
You don't
them?
want nobody to see that.
Why'd you scrub them?
You don't want nobody to see that, but you're willing to risk all this classified stuff that you're not supposed to have on a private server, that's not supposed to leave the government one, even if the government one might get attacked or hacked every other month, and you're going to use that as a defense of, well, I'm doing them a favor by bringing all that over to my stuff. It never got hacked here, but the government's gets hacked all the time. I did them a favor, people.
Yep.
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
And you would just turn that over. That would have ended it all. But no, you, again, held on, deleted things, gave back what you deemed, and then broke up over here. And then they said, well, how do we know we got them all? Well, because I told you I gave them to y'all.
Right.
But
now you have to prove otherwise.
Now we know that the NSA had all of them that she thought she deleted. They're there, and they're getting released. And it's showing more and more classified stuff, more and more things that she didn't turn over. So you can go back in time now and be like, that was a lie, that was a lie, that was a lie. How many lies does it take to where we have to quit going to her and asking, like, another question just to get another lie?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, we got to take her word for it, and so they
should never have to take her word.
They better do that for me if I ever got investigated. Well, I've given you everything. Are you sure? Yeah. Okay. Have a good day. No, they kick my door in and make sure that I gave them everything.
So with all that going on, and that's what I'm debating with people, all that stuff we just explained, and then for Trump, they started something based on they didn't have, like people like to say, you have to have a smidge of evidence.
And if they didn't use the dossier like he's saying now,
then what did you get? That proven to be 80% wrong. There was a few things in there I think that were correct, but they said like all this stuff was just made up. The dossier was proven highly not good. So that wasn't good evidence anyway. But we know it was used. We have other people saying it wasn't. And then there was nothing else that they used that they showed. So it's like, this is the only thing they had. They did this whole year-long thing, turned up nothing. And now you got the person wanting to, like, well, let's look at why they started. Oh, you shouldn't cross lines like that.
Right.
Like, what the hell?
Right.
We have a right.
Yep.
Clear crimes ignored, witch hunts investigated to the fullest arm of the law.
Crazy. And the people...
if they did it consistently, I would be with it. Like, just consistency. Like, no, we'd go after everyone like this. That kind of shows shadiness. I mean, I'm sure to a lot of portion, the only reason people that we even talk to think that Trump's involved with Russia is because that's what was given to them from the media.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? They don't have truly any insight or.
It's just more proof that they had their own people in power in place to make sure. I mean, because if anybody that wasn't Hillary's friend was in charge of making the decision to investigate her, she would have been investigated. But her own people aren't going to investigate her.
Yeah.
Members in the DOJ and the FISA court and all these other judges that have signed these warrants and made decisions are all friends of hers.
Yeah.
So it's
Everybody seemed that she promised them something in return, or they had a dog in the race for her to, like, a little bit of corruption on them.
Sure.
I got to do this. So I guess it makes sense. I sit here and boggle my brain like, oh my God, I know why. I've already said this. If Hillary would have went down for that, then it would have led to Obama, his whole committee, his whole executive branch or whatever he had going on.
They're protecting each other.
Because all of them had pseudonyms. His whole, I can't remember what you call it, his house, his closest people to Obama, his panel of people, they all were emailing Hillary with pseudonyms. They all like stop like, ooh, we don't want to, let's just, they created one. They rolled with it for a few years, and that's how, when they needed to email her, they went off the government system and emailed from a pseudonym fake account to get information. That there knows that they're aware because they didn't even want to email from the gov.
Correct. Just like Loretta Lynch was using aliases to do investigations and get things done. It's like, you can't do that. That's called corruption.
Yeah.
You know,
Trump. You know, everyone's like, so what was it the other day on his Twitter? He put everything just turned over to Congress for preservation, and you know, this is stuff for the history books. Yeah. Transparency. I think if anything, Trump will go down as one of the most transparent presidents as well, because he, it's like, you know, he updated this Twitter account with the congressional records of presidentials, and now boom, they got every single tweet, every single thing he said.
Yep. Because he's sitting president, those are now archived. So you can easily go back and look at the things that he told you he was going to do, or things that were going to come, and patience, and this is going to happen, and it's all happening, and the news media won't be able to say, well, he never said that. Well, it's all recorded. As president, anything he does is recorded.
He put it right to him. I mean, think about this, folks. Like, I think this is it. Like, he learned early on, I'm going to go out every morning and do something to get into the books, I'm going to say something. The media's there. They either try to come back with a question, or they'll spin it like, well, here you hear it first, folks. He's going to. So instead, he just tweets. It's at that age. That's where we're at. This is available. He knows that it's his words. Now all the news can do at 8 a.m. is like they've been doing. Oh, look at this. At 4 a.m., we just turned on at 5, so we're here, but it's an hour ago, he tweeted this. They got to show the tweet. People at home can read it with their own eyes, too, and be like, okay, that's what it says. And then all they can do is, like, see, folks, what we think he says in that second line, nothing has happened. I think he's talking about the country of America, and they can spin it all they want, but people are like, no, because he's talking about ZTE.
News headlines, Trump just admits he hasn't accomplished anything.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
But no, people are like, no, he's talking about this China deal with ZTE and phones. So that's how he's doing it. It's already proven itself, like when he said, Obama spied on me in the campaign. What did the news do that morning, 2 hours after he tweeted it? And that's his words. They can only say, he's a liar, and that's a lie. Yeah. And 5 months later, well, you know, we didn't investigate real well. We were just reading his tweet. And we didn't have nothing in front of us of it.
We're CNN. We're getting used to coming back tomorrow and apologizing. And we didn't have all the facts. We hurried up.
So do you think maybe this guy does? This Donald J. Trump guy maybe has some information?
I love his tweets. Some of them are kind of, hokey pokey or whatever, but he is doing the same thing that FDR did with fireside chats. And if Obama did this, they would have loved him. Oh, look how hip Obama's being. He's getting to the people. This is the best way for him to make sure people understand and hear his words and what he wants done. Exactly. You cannot manipulate it unless his tweet account got hacked. But
that's what we're saying.
At least you can plug on and find out exactly what your president said, and don't take Fox or CNN or anybody's word for it, or even go straight to the source.
Go and read it, and then you're like, well, I don't exactly know what it means. So that's where I need you, the Patriot Hour, or CNN, to break it down to me.
Sure.
Well, that's fine that we could read them to you folks, or maybe now I think that what this means, but man, when it's you always got that half cup full guy and half empty. What is it to you, and it's like they're able to, and whenever they get an inkling or an inch, they're like, if they could read like, oh, that's too vague, now we can jump on that and really push our narrative. That's what they're going to do.
Right.
They don't, but what Q has even told us, like, has every one of Donald Trump's Twitter, he doesn't talk about when he goes on to CNN or these other channels and speaks. He's saying his Twitter it's all been proven 100%. There's not anything you can go through and find that he said and it ended up being a lie.
Right.
That's what it's almost like.
As far as the
WikiLeaks.
factual statements
Yes,
he's made, because
yes.
he's made a lot of it. You
Just kind of off the wall, yes.
Right.
I get that as well. So I guess starting with, well, here's an interesting one if I could find it real quick. Right here, the front has been. So let's get this back up on the board for the folks.
the truth's been in front of you this entire time.
Yeah, now you click this, right? And this is Q on, what, May 20th, 2 days ago. 2 o'clock. It takes you back to a 2013 Donald J. Trump.
Wow. How amazing, the state health director who verified copies of Obama's birth certificate died in a plane crash today. But everybody else lived. That's kind of like getting shot in the back of the head twice by self-inflicted.
Would they all throw him out of the plane?
That's a good
Well, we were going skydiving. He didn't have his chute on, and we didn't know.
He wasn't buckled up, and we hit turbulence, So you have all these other witnesses. That's amazing, though.
So that was, like I said, 2013, right?
Yeah. Jeez.
I don't know why that's coming back up. There's nothing here before that would talk about Obama to after. It just out of nowhere he posted that. So
That's hilarious.
we are Q.
Where are we at time-wise?
36 minutes. So we can shut. Oh, did you see that? This is the NSA traffic cam over from London, or England, London.
What's the prevalence to this? What are we looking at here, Mikey? There's a Ferris wheel in the background.
And then if you reverse it, there's
Q. It's a backwards
yes.
Q. Yeah.
But there was something to do. He posted back in February, real quick, and then he started posting all these other ones, and people are like, well, I think the photos are linked. The ones from February showed the group of people still over here, and now the people are here. And then a couple more pictures he posted shows them across, and we don't know. See these here.
What's he implying by that?
Note the time, note the vehicles on the road, compare against 2/16/18 photos that he dropped of the same NSA traffic cam. 6 surveilled people, value targets. I don't know. UK, US, US, UK. So these are some, I don't know. Just
I
get
want to dig into that one too. That's kind of
follow
neat.
the pen. All right, so let me get us out of here. Yeah, we got a little going on 40 minutes, so we could shut this one down.
Maybe highlight the inauguration picture just as we go away, because if you didn't know, you don't remember. There sure were a lot of media outlets saying, "Oh, it wasn't that big." It goes clear back down the mall. It was just huge.
I think
Just
there's
like
people on the other
Israel
side
is-
of this lake or the pond too,
pond.
right?
Oh, yeah, the
way
ball
back here.
mark, yeah,
And then
all
look
the
at
way
that.
back.
Oh, that goes
Yeah.
all the way.
Yep. It was great. It was just like election night, and then this day of inauguration, and then when we went to the rally, we were starting to see, you and I firsthand, that they are liars. His rallies aren't that big. It was huge. And we were expecting hundreds and hundreds of protesters. Nah, there were a few, but so there we are, folks. We're winning.
Yeah, that's I know they said it was even a little bigger for Obama's possibly or something like down these side streets, but
Yeah, I don't know.
I wasn't ever comparing, but they were showing blank, like it was empty. Like, yeah, look at this.
Right.
That's what started it. It was a blank photo of like the day before.
I know this is bigger than most inaugurations, so I didn't care how big or small Obama's was or Trump's. I cared because the media was trying.
That was a meme.
Oh, there was 4 people at his inauguration. They just play it down, and that was the beginning of they set the narrative.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nobody really cared he was president. Bull crap. You could see with your own eyes. You can say it was photoshopped or whatnot, but whatever. So that's day 1, and here we are going on to the second full year. So I'm excited to see what's next.
All right. This is Mike, Scott, Patriot Hour. We're gonna go do a little garage talk. Maybe come back. We'll see.
Sure. It's gorgeous outside.
Yes, keep fighting for your rights and freedoms.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Promoting truth and liberty.
Yeah,
Right?
there you go.
Let's do that. All right, folks. God bless, Godspeed, and great afternoon. We'll see you back here real soon.
You know what letter that is, Grover?
I think so.
What letter is this?
Q.
Q. This is indeed a Q.
Hey, Froggy.